Welcome! This video contains an introduction, an interview so you can gain deeper understanding of the subject from spirit level, and a group frequency calibration so you can start to clear the frequency distortion patterns around this topic. Enjoy! Hi everyone, my name is Karen Cheong, and I'm here with my co-host Dennis Kelly. Today we're going to be discussing detox. Now detox are the physical, emotional, and sometimes mental symptoms that we can have once we've had frequency work, because our bodies need to catch up to the change on spirit level that's happened now that the frequency distortions have been deleted. So the way that this can appear is in two ways. Well, actually it may not appear at all, but if it does appear, it can appear as physical, which would mean something like perhaps needing to sleep a lot, or having disrupted sleep, or perhaps getting injured, or perhaps getting sick. It may show up mentally, emotionally as feeling a little bit disoriented or not sure what to feel, or feeling heavy, or perhaps empty, or irritable, or even if you have a tendency towards depression like anxiety or feeling down. So it's important to know what detox is so that you can anticipate it, so that you don't fall into a fear space, and that you can use it to leverage yourself to propel you into more growth. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. Dennis?
Well, Karen, it's really good to join you again. I really have enjoyed this series of different topics, and it sounds like your listeners are really enjoying it too. Detox is one that I'll tell you, it kind of makes me a little jumpy here because I would like this to just be, stair steps to heaven. And
Wouldn't we all?
You're telling me there's speed bumps here.
Yeah, it's more like speed bumps to heaven.
So I hear you talk about mental, emotional, physical.
Yep.
So help me with, when you say detox, what does that exactly mean? What am I going to experience? What am I going to feel? What am I going to...
Yeah. So it depends on the person. So detox actually is when you're literally... Well, if you've ever done a cleanse. Have you ever done a cleanse?
I have.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you've ever done a cleanse, you may have experienced when you do a cleanse feeling kind of like crap for the first day or two.
That's the part I remember.
Right. So that's what happens as the toxicity leaves your body. And it doesn't feel very good. But once it's gone, you actually feel really great because you feel clear and bright and more energetic. At least that's what I feel like in a cleanse, even though you've kind of suffered through the headaches or whatever. So this is a similar thing where you oftentimes, now it's very possible that you don't experience detox. There are some people who have a rule set that they don't experience detox. They actually take in the frequency work. Some of them go to sleep and they wake up from a nap and they're like, all right, I'm done, ready to go, and I'm readjusted and I'm adjusted to this new spiritual reality and I can just move on forward. Many of us, however, don't have to, but the way we are is that we experience sort of a letting go period, the same that you would in a physical cleanse, where your body is actually readjusting to this new way of being without the same distortion patterns. So if you can imagine holding in your hand a foam ball, okay? So when you squish the ball, it gets small, right? Because you squished it.
Yep.
Right? And then when you let it go, it comes back to its normal size, right? Because you've let the ball go. So similarly, when frequency patterns come into your body, they actually compress and condense because it's coming into form. When we delete the frequency distortions or we remove them from you, it's like they go from bound to unbound. They go like from here to like whoop, and they kind of like burst out into their unbound form as they leave you. So they kind of get a little bit shrieky sometimes. They kind of get loud. So that's really what is happening as you adjust to these frequency distortions leaving you. And sometimes we react to the frequency distortions just leaving us, and sometimes we are adjusting to the frequency distortions getting loud just before they leave. And because we have always thought that these distortion patterns were us, and now we're looking at them as if they're not us anymore, we really see them. Does that make sense? I know I just answered a ton in that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a multiple faceted thing.
So I can see what you're saying, and the fact of the matter is that I'm operating at this level of frequency. And now you're saying that through my work with you, my frequency will start to increase.
Yes.
Which is going to impact me physically,
Yes.
mentally, and emotionally.
Or or one of
or a
those.
combination of.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Or one of those. Yeah.
So I can see where with that shift, with that change,
Yep.
there has to be some type of impact.
Yes. For most people. Some people don't.
Okay. So when you say, I may not feel well, or
Yeah.
what does that mean? Am I laid up in bed for a week? Am I not
Right.
able to walk?
Yeah.
Not able to talk?
Or
no.
no.
I mean, how severe is this?
It? Okay. How severe is it? Depends on the distortion patterns and on the individual and how much fear they have and how willing they are to let go, and how much intensity they can take. So some people, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid, and they actually like to move very fast on spirit level. So they might actually get something that looks like food poisoning, and it might last 24 hours or 36 hours, and then they feel better. Some people get a cold out of nowhere, and it lasts a few days. And that's sort of like kind of the worst case. I think some people may get injured, like twist their ankles, or something like this, right? And it takes as long as it takes for that thing to heal. Or all of a sudden they get this weird thing in their eye and they're like, what is that? But they can function. It's just that their bodies are readjusting and letting go of these distortion patterns, because it has to come out of the physical, emotional, energetic fields to return to the frequency.
So two words came to me as you kind of walked through that.
Yeah.
One is surrender, and the other one, non-attachment.
Yes.
So don't be attached to whatever it is that
Yes.
I'm going through.
Yep.
And don't try to be analytical and try to figure out, I feel like this, and trying to figure out all the correlations.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Just a big part of it is surrender.
Yep.
Let the change be what it is,
Yep.
whatever it is,
Yep.
and keep moving forward.
Yes. And know that it will pass.
It will pass.
And to notice what is happening with you. So if it's physical, it's sort of like, okay, well, you're just going to have the cold and you're going to get better and it's fine. For most people, it will be mental, emotional. So really, it's important, as you say, to surrender. And in the non-attachment, the way that you can do that is to watch your life as if you're watching a movie. So you're like, oh, okay, well, that's showing up in my life. That's interesting, right? And it may show up as people. So for example, if you have released a lot of things around control, for example, like there's this frequency distortion pattern of control that's run through you from your lineage, let's just say. It may be that you're in the grocery store and someone you don't even know tries to tell you what to do or control your behavior. And you're like, whoa, what is going on? And you kind of have this like reaction of getting over angry at them. But then instead, before a split second before you react, to just notice, wow, that's interesting. That person's trying to control my behavior. Okay, I think we just released that. So it's just noticing the people that are coming into your life, your own reactions to them, and then choosing, if you have a reaction to that person, to not go to that normal reaction, right? To not be triggered by them. Or if, for example, we worked on something where you're letting go of an abusive pattern with people, and all of a sudden an old flame comes back into your life, or a new person comes in and they tend to have those abusive qualities. It's for you to see that and be like, I don't want that anymore. It's no longer mine. And so by doing that, you're confirming the deletion of the pattern, and it's done now.
So what you're saying is the detox is kind of a golden opportunity.
Yes, it is.
To really bring about major change in the world that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
And do not get caught up in it.
Yes.
So if I'm the type of person that I run to the doctor every time, oh, my elbow hurts, oh, I've got a headache.
Yeah.
Chances are I've got to let go of that.
Yep.
And as I move through this energy work that you're talking about, I just have to surrender. Yep. It has to get confusing about, am I really sick, or am I detoxing?
Yeah.
Or how can I tell the difference?
Well, if you've just done some work on the frequency work, then chances are it is some form of detox. If it's like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks later, it may just be that you're getting sick. But actually, it's funny, we call it sick, right?
Yeah.
We call it
Yeah.
sick. And I know it's uncomfortable, but it's actually our body's way of purging many times something that's not okay in our systems. So this is just a releasing on the physical level of something that no longer serves you. And so it shows up as symptomaticness, if that makes sense. So by all means, I'm not a doctor, so you should if you're concerned by what's happening to you, then go see a doctor and get it checked out for sure. And oftentimes it's just your body cleansing the thing out.
It sounds like good judgment is the key to success as you move through the detox process. Mm-hmm. And that could vary with each person as far as their ability to surrender, to let go. Mm-hmm. And if I'm extremely attached and I'm moving through this and trying to release, the detox could be more severe.
Yes.
Just because of my resistance.
Yes, and more prolonged.
So hopefully with time, I kind of learn this process.
Yep.
And I learn how to allow the change to come about.
Yep, exactly. And I would say that, especially for people who hang on, and even if you don't think you hang on, chances are we all do to some degree.
Yeah. Control.
Control. Right?
I gotta have control.
Exactly. It makes us feel safe. It makes us feel certain. And so it's to just, as you say, it's like, it's the noticing of it really is the key. It's just noticing without judging yourself. Like we always tend to beat ourselves up. Like, oh, I still do that thing. It's so terrible. I shouldn't be doing that thing. It's like, oh, I'm getting over anxious here, or I'm getting angry. I'm noticing that, and that's interesting. And even if you want to write it down because it makes you feel better because you're doing something, okay, like noticing today I'm a little anxious. And really, truly, our emotional state if it's a true emotion, it doesn't last that long. Yeah. Like a true emotion response of fear, anxiety, whatever, if we're really truly feeling it, it only lasts a few seconds to a couple of minutes. Anything that's more prolonged than that is really just the mind recreating that emotion. Mm. And then you have to ask yourself if that's the case. Like 5 hours later, if you're still talking about that response you had like 5 hours ago, chances are it's the mind. And so it's to notice, okay, well, what am I getting out of this mind thing of going to this anxiety or creating this drama or whatever it is that we're doing? Yeah.
That really helps because the more I understand the process and the more I understand what detox is, I think the more forgiving I'm going to be of myself.
Exactly.
And it really allow myself to go through this without constantly questioning, what's going on.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, could you help me? I hear so often when I look at your video or your website, GFC. Exactly what is that?
A GFC is a group frequency calibration, which looks a lot like a guided meditation on a particular topic. And what I'm doing is I'm helping you to remove the distortion patterns of that particular topic. And because you're coming together as a mastermind in a group to connect to pure source even more and to clear the distortion patterns of this particular topic, what happens is a tremendous amount of momentum starts to happen because of the energetic of the entire group. And each individual is able to move faster and ascend higher than they could have on their own. Welcome, everyone. This is the Group Frequency Calibration on Detox. So please begin by taking a deep breath into the very pit of your belly, wherever that is for you is perfect. So you can just imagine the pit of your belly. Taking a deep breath in, holding it for a second or two, and then releasing. Your next breath, please inhale. Hold for a second or two longer than your previous breath. And on this particular breath, please exhale with sound. So, or some such. And on your third breath, similarly, you're going to inhale and hold your breath for at least 2 seconds longer than you did your previous breath. And this time, exhale as much as you can. until you get to the voided breath. Okay? And whenever you are ready, please breathe into your heart space with regular breath. So for those of you who are new, please note that I am working on you, even as I speak. And what is happening is I'm working with the mastermind to have a gel. So the mastermind is when two or more beings come together with a common intention. And in this case, it's to connect to pure source even more, which is the highest intention possible, and to transcend the distortion patterns of the particular topic, in this case, detox. So as a note, because of the purpose, it is the best and highest part of ourselves, our spirit selves, that come together. So this is a group that's coming together with pure and clear intention to connect to pure source. So you don't have to worry about picking up anyone's stuff, because you're meeting with the highest and best version of themselves, or of the people on the call. Taking a deep breath into your heart space. Becoming aware of how you are sitting, standing, or lying down. Noticing the room that you're in, or if you're outside, where you are in relation to things around you. So, just so you know, on my end, I will be making some noises. You might hear me exhale sharply, you might hear me yawn, I'm not tired. You might hear me snap, or you might hear me hum. And this is how I currently remove distortion patterns. So that's how it works for now. It likely will change, but in case you hear that on my end, don't be alarmed. And you can use it as an opportunity to increase your own focus. Taking another deep breath into your heart space. And just note that I'm working on you in group, subgroup, and the individual level. And so the first distortion pattern that we're going to clear on in the heart space at this moment is that of fear of letting go. So you may not want the things that you are hanging on to, but there's a certain comfort in knowing that they're there. Okay? So there's a certain certainty or comfort that it provides you. So there's the fear of letting it go, because things likely will be very different once you do. So removing this distortion pattern to help you with letting go generally, because that is what is required in order to accelerate and to ascend. Because these things you're hanging on to are dense, have a denser pattern to them, and so to ascend into the higher realms, you need to release them, because it can't be sustained at the higher realms. Okay? Taking another deep breath into your heart space. Actually, please breathe between your belly button and your heart space. And this is the fear of the unknown. It's, of course, a very human fear. And it absolutely can slow us down in terms of our progress. And in our letting go. So releasing this distortion pattern for you as you breathe between your belly button and your heart space, or simply imagine, see, sense, feel, or become aware of this space between these two places. And just note that if I say something and you resonate with it, chances are it's yours. And if for some reason I say something and you react strongly against it, chances are it is yours. So I invite you to consider that possibility. And to be willing to see it if it is there. And just know that there's no judgment around it. It's just about, in order to progress upwards, we need to see where we are clearly. Okay, taking another deep breath into your solar plexus. So, just so you know, this is going to help you with the symptoms of detox if you are experiencing them, whether they be physical or mental, emotional. That said, detox is a strengthening process. It is often required for that to happen in order for you to get stronger and to move up. So if you can not use this GFC, then don't, if you can help it. Of course, if you're really struggling, then use it. So just use your discernment as to what you need at any particular time. So this is now the next frequency distortion pattern has to do with self-doubt. It's a distortion pattern of actually trust, which is the pattern specifically of self-doubt, specifically having to do with the fortitude to make it through a detox. So what I will say about that is that you are stronger than you imagine. And that you, on a higher level, have given this to yourself as something to overcome, transcend, go through, because it will make you stronger. So you absolutely can do it and you can handle it because you've given it to yourself. Now, whether you choose to use this as a tool or something else as a tool to help you, that's wonderful. And you can do it. So, breathing into your belly button to your heart. And this is a form of inner strength that is already existing in you that I'm going to amplify. And in fact, why don't we do this? As you breathe between your belly button and your heart space, why don't we ask ourselves the question within ourselves, within our own heads, how can I connect only to pure source even more? And that question again is, how can I connect only to pure source even more? Or if you prefer, how can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source? How can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source, whichever resonates best with you? And as you ask yourself that question, imagine, see, sense, or feel a brilliance that starts to get brighter, stronger, more tingly, or more expansive in your solar plexus as you ask this question and connect to pure source even more. And on my end, I'm helping you increase your bandwidth, your ability to connect, which is natural and native to you, is increasing this even more. Making this the dominant frequency. Good. Okay, now please breathe into your heart space, please. So all I'm doing here is I'm working on your heart space to expand determination and focus from a higher perspective so that you're following the calling of your own spirit. Okay? Now please breathe, imagine, see, sense, feel, or become aware of your spine from the very tip of your tailbone all the way up through your lower back, all the way up behind your rib cage, up through your neck into the back of your skull. Really focusing on your spine. Now imagine each vertebrae starting to light up all the way from your tailbone, vertebrae by vertebra, up your spine. How fast or slow you want to go is up to you. Just imagine your whole spine lighting up. It's really important that we stay anchored in our bodies. It's critical, actually, and in our spines as we go through the clearing out of our physical, emotional, mental fields to catch up with the change on spirit level. So, anchoring you into your spine. Good. All right, now please breathe between your solar plexus, or let's say your belly button, and your heart again. So what I'm helping you with at this point is that your spirit has a natural intolerance for the heaviness of the frequency distortions. So enhancing that intolerance for it so that you yourself will start to cast it off, okay, because you just won't want it. So what this may look like for you is you might just start to get really irritated with a lot of people around you, because you'll start to see their distortion patterns and start to react against them, because your spirit is not going to tolerate so much this density that is binding that happens around all of us. So you might be more irritated around people, just as a heads up. So increasing this so that you can help yourself in releasing these distortion patterns and moving through the detox more smoothly and easily. Also activating the spirit so that it can bring you even more of the right remedies, the right people, the right circumstances, the right timing to help you with this process of, let's call it detox or integration or whatever you want to call it. Okay? Integration up to a new level. It's leveling up is what you're doing, really. And your body is just catching up on the physical, mental, emotional realm. So allowing for support to come in as well on the physical plane, right? There we go. So this last distortion pattern that we're going to release before we end, between your belly button and your heart space, is that of poor me. It's almost like a victim frequency, where you're like, oh, poor me, I have to go through this. Right? This is strengthening. So you have asked for this on some level, which is why you are here experiencing this. So in order to ascend, we have to become stronger. So there becomes less and less room for this over sensitivity to one's own state. So like this poor me sort of helpless victim state. As I mentioned, you are more powerful than you imagine. So the only reason you have this frequency distortion pattern is because you have received it from your lineage, and or you receive attention for having it. It is not serving you, however. It does not propel you forward. In fact, it keeps you held back. It may make you feel more comfortable or safe or important or whatever, but it doesn't propel you forward. It actually pulls you back. It's quite binding. So I'm going to release this for you. along with this victim state is the belief that things are happening to you, like things are conspiring to happen to you, and you're powerless to do anything about it. Perhaps things are happening for you so you can awaken, strengthen, grow, or learn. That is definitely a very real possibility. And much more likely. You can, of course, if you want, hang on to this frequency distortion pattern. Some people do. But again, it's not serving you. So I'll delete it for you. You can choose whether or not you want to fully release it or if you want to partially hang on to it. It will make things slower and harder for you. So it's up to you to choose. There we go. Good. Take a deep breath in. Hold it for at least 2 to 3 seconds. And then release. And one final thing is I'm going to enhance your own ability to adapt, to be comfortable with the discomfort. Okay? So I'm not like putting things in you, just enhancing what is already yours. This is a very human thing, the ability to adapt, to transcend. Enhancing this in you. Good. So I'm going to leave you here for as long as you'd like. And I look forward to meeting you on the next GFC.